Sick.
Look at us
Hopefully that
go.
worked.
We're so official.
We are so cool.
Well, now Chelsea and Randy can't give us crap for having boring intros.
Yeah.
I feel like they're
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. All right. So I think we just kick it off because that way we don't really have to wait for a whole lot, really anyone at this point now.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So welcome to your daily dose with E Squared. I'm EJ, and this is
Emma.
Emma. We're both CrossFit coaches and have definitely knowledge in nutrition. She definitely has more knowledge in supplements, working for Swolverine. Together with Grit Daily Dose, we try to be a one-stop shop for science and experience-based knowledge on supplements, nutrition, exercise, lifestyle, and really to bring you an honest education to hopefully help you along your path towards whatever goal you may have. So today we had posted on habits to aid in energy and performance. So really, if you're like most of our clients, you understand that in order to improve performance, you have to be consistent in the gym. Too often we overlook the other 23 hours, usually if you're taking an hour-long CrossFit class, and honestly how they influence our performance, our recovery, and the ability to decrease possible inflammation. That's why today we're going to dive into some fundamentals of nutrition, and look at some habits to help maybe skyrocket or at least support your energy and performance. Maybe hit some frequently asked questions, really just feel out the whole thing. And then we might even throw in some supplements that can help with that as well. Kind of where to get started first and foremost at all. So with that, number one, we've talked it back and forth constantly. I preach it to all my clients and everyone at the gym. They know it. Number one is whole foods.
Food.
Food first. We're surrounded by really like supplements, meal replacements. They're not useful. Even pills that make claims to be a magic end all or a performance, like the holy grail of performance. And we can't forget the foundation of health and fueling our bodies comes with whole foods. There is reality is there's no pills, supplements, or powders, whatever, that will magically give you the results that you want.
No.
Yeah.
Really not.
So whole foods and more or less balanced meals, and we could probably talk another episode on type of diets, what they're usually looking like. But reality is, and again, supporting a more balanced diet. And we can look at like, I guess, like the CrossFit cliche of meats, veggies. I like to say some nuts and seeds.
Yeah.
Eat plenty of fruit and veggies. Like I said earlier, fruit, starch, and minimizing added sugar. Now, the sugar is not bad for you, but just minimizing it. So,
I mean, if you are like OG CrossFit, you're doing very little starch, no sugar at all.
Yeah.
So what? That would be like paleo.
Yeah.
With the zone diet. So, but most people are having some sugar here and there in their life, if they're living at all, right?
It's great. It's great. I love sugar.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's get into a little bit of the macronutrients, talk a little bit their roles and kind of the benefits they have. Let's have the big one, protein. So
our favorite.
Yep, that plays a serious, like, vital role in your body structure and your enzymes.
Mhm.
Protein's also involved with hormone health and proper function of our immune system. But the big one that everyone ever focuses on is that protein is the building blocks of your muscles.
Mhm.
So with adequate protein, it is, I said without, I should say, without adequate protein, it is impossible to build the muscle that you're working so hard for in the gym.
Mhm.
As well as protein being the most thermogenic, whereas your body has to work the hardest to digest it.
Yeah.
With additionally, having enough of that puts your body, those people trying to maybe drop a few pounds, additional protein intake can put that push that possible additional energy expenditure to help
Mhm.
continue, for you to be in a caloric deficit. What does this mean? Plain and simple. We need to consume protein, enough protein. I'm not saying start eating 300 grams of protein every day, but have some protein with all meals and snacks if you can. Um, Primarily lean protein sources like fish, chicken, lean beef cuts. For our veggie and plant-based people, we get tofu, beans, lentils. You can do tempeh. Tempeh tends to have more fat in it. Typically, it's really healthy fat, but it does have more fat in it.
And
Uh,
what's the, is it, if you take like a vegan approach, you have to supplement with the vitamin B6, or is it just vitamin B?
it is
Because
usually
there's,
typically like a B complex.
yeah, because
Um,
there's things in red meat that you just can't get from anything else.
yeah,
So,
or you have to eat a lot of the other areas
yeah,
to equalize it.
yeah,
That's why we tend to see a lot of people who are like more plant based or vegetarian. You tend to take more supplements, and it tends to be can be a more
more expensive.
expensive diet or
Hmm.
lifestyle. Anything else you want to touch on that concept of
I
protein?
I just love the hint of try to have it in all of your meals or snacks. Um, this one can be, I feel like, a really hard one for people to get. Like people think they're eating so much protein, and then I have them track, and they're eating like 50 grams a day. They're like, oh, I eat a lot of protein. They have like one egg. And I always
Mhm.
give people crap if I see them only having 2 eggs for breakfast. I'm like, come on, you know, you gotta do 2 eggs and 2 egg whites. It's like the way to go. Add that extra protein in. So I just have some fun little tricks like that just to add more protein. But protein's one of those. It's hard, but once you keep practicing adding it in,
Mhm.
it can be something that's so helpful to your energy levels, to your muscle recovery, to your sleep, um, to even just like, I know that if I up my protein, I just like am in a better mood. I feel
Mhm.
more confident when I'm in the gym. Um, I feel like my gut health is a little bit stronger. Like everything's just more regular, everything's more consistent. As someone who has periods, it's also really helpful for like my PMS symptoms. So I just see like as a female with also like all the hormones that go nuts, protein's just so helpful. It's one of those easy ways to just help my body do what it needs to do. And so I always try to, usually that's a macronutrient I address first with anyone who's really struggling to get
Yep.
their eating in line. I'm like, okay, let's just focus on protein first and we'll worry about the rest later. But if we can get you eating enough protein, you'll feel way better. So,
Absolutely. Talk about feeling better and energy levels. On that, we can shift into our body's primary source of energy, the one that
my
gets love, the
favorite.
one that gets a lot of hate. Carbohydrates. That's your body's main
I love
source and
carbs.
primary source of fuel, especially during exercise. So, the big thing with carbs is they help prevent protein from being utilized as an energy, which is important
Mhm.
because we need protein for building muscle. Um, so a lot of people don't realize that there's a lot of science behind it. Duh. But that having
Hopefully.
carbohydrates helps. Yeah, carbohydrates being broken down to sugars, drinking enough water, eating enough carbohydrates, having enough salt, all that's being broken into. Carbohydrates, when they're broken down to the sugar, are the catalyst that helps shuttle water and salt into your muscles. That's why a lot of people, they go to the keto diet, they like drop weight really quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's because now you're not taking in that catalyst that helps your body essentially take in those primary nutrients. It gets the sugar, it gets the water, it gets the salt that it really, really wants. So carbs, carbs in that sense are also the most varying source that you can get, where it can be fruit, beans and lentils also being a complete protein, rice, bread, pasta, candy, soda, juice. There's a lot out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, there's always good, better, best forms.
Yeah, that's a good. That you can get carbs, and there's usually a lot more carbs and or added sugars and things that people think. So they're usually not hard to get. That's for sure. So I feel like unless someone's really just not eating, they're probably eating more carbs than they think, or just more of the wrong type of carbs than they think.
Right.
So usually things that just like candy, right? Like it doesn't really provide nutritional value or energy, steady energy, or, but like give them a sweet potato and they feel great. So,
yeah. And I've seen like even CrossFit athletes still have like a baggie of, what's the classic ones? Sour Patch Kids.
Sour Patch Kids. Yeah.
Crap like that with
Gummy
them
worm.
at the gym during training. I'm like, that's cool, but you really don't. I don't even care if you're doing a 3-hour training period. You do not need. You can easily get that from an apple, banana. Mm-hmm. You could have a carbohydrate. Your guys's the
clean carbs.
Clean carbs.
That's more of, I would say, like most people do really well with that, like right after they're done training. If they were to need something that's like middle, they're just taking a quick 30-minute break between Metcons, they might do fine with the clean carbs. But for someone like me who doesn't digest things super fast, I always did a banana, the applesauce pouches. If you really want to do like a gummy candy, you could do those organic
Gummy bears
mountains. Yeah, they have them at Costco. There's still like some added sugar in them, but there's not a lot of like additive, like extra.
It's more like, I think it's like a gelatin, like a plant-based gelatin, and I think it's real fruit juice that they use.
Yeah, so they're not adding a bunch of extra additives and stuff like that, and flavors and coloring and stuff like that. So those are an option if you needed something gummy, or if you're someone who just really likes gummy candy and you're trying to find like a better option, then hey, there you go. But I always did my favorite was a banana, the applesauce pouches. I mean, I have them around. I have kids, so I would just steal theirs. And then the Fairlife chocolate milk protein shakes.
Ooh,
so
yes. So when it comes to prioritizing carbohydrates, we want the ones to help improve our performance are going to be the ones that are high in vitamins and minerals, i.e. applesauce is a great one, and contain limited added sugar. So those applesauce packets are perfect, or banana. And then obviously focusing on whole foods first. Then we get into the final one, fats. Fats are probably the most misunderstood one. I feel like people I don't know if this is a good fat. Saturated fat should stay away from. Unsaturated, poly, mono. I get a lot of questions on that, but
even I have mixed feelings about fats sometimes. So I feel like they can, especially my biggest question always going into it was, how do I cook with things that are known to be fats, like olive oil or butter or ghee or whatever, and how do I add those into, like, if I'm counting my macronutrients or whatever? And everyone seems to have a different answer. So I feel like that could aid into my issue with fats, because they can be the sneaky macro that adds up really fast.
Right.
I feel like for most people, they don't realize that a whole avocado has, is it 20
I
or
don't
more
even know
grams of fat.
Yeah.
So, but for someone like me who doesn't really need a lot of fat throughout my day, maybe anywhere from 50 to 70 grams of fat. I mean, that's like, if I eat half an avocado, and if I'm eating 50 grams, I'm already 1/5 of the way there, and it's like 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it adds up fast, but also fats are so important for hormones. So I always tell people
Yep.
eat them.
Yeah, absolutely. They help not only helping support our hormones, but they play a huge role on the micro scale
Mhm.
within our cell membranes that help aid in the absorption of major fat soluble vitamins. Like you can go down the alphabet of them, but like A, E, D, even K. I had that on my notes here, but you can go down the alphabet of our fat soluble vitamins. That fat absorbs fat vitamins.
Yeah.
Don't take in fat. You're not going to absorb those vitamins very well. Another thing that I think that people don't realize is that fat is the most calorically dense macronutrient, providing around not providing 9 calories per gram, whereas carbohydrates and protein are around 4. So
Over
a little
double.
can go a long way.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, it's hard to only have one spoonful of peanut butter. It's really hard. you always want to double dip.
I'm always like, this is a tablespoon. And my husband's like, Emma, that's a salad spoon of a peanut butter scoop. I'm like, yeah, it's like this big.
Half
It's
the
like,
jar is gone. That's a serving. So good examples are going to be like your nuts, seeds, oils, and even animal fats, and which can also help in your protein intake.
Mm-hmm.
The fats that are going to be ideal for performance and for performance and energy levels are going to be the ones that contain those omega-3s. I should have done this. I meant to do this. What was our episode that had the omega-3s?
Oh, look, you can keep talking.
Okay. Because we actually had an episode that we talked about how the importance of omega-3 fatty acids, omega-3 fatty acids, the roles they play and the support they have in your body. So if you guys want some more information on that, you can go check out our previous podcast that contained it. But omega-3s will help fight inflammation, which in turn will help with recovery. Kind of some examples of this are like your wild caught salmon, herring, almonds, or really any cold water fish, as well as almonds and walnuts have the omega-3s in them.
It was our episode on lifestyle. I'm trying to figure out. I gotta look at.
Was that?
So episode 4?
Yep.
We were talking about krill oil.
Yes.
And kind of how people usually overconsume the omega-6s and underconsume omega-3s.
Yep. I think we talked about that on our everyday supplement essentials as well.
We might have talked about both. I feel like we did have a lot of overlap on both.
Yeah. So you guys can check out probably episode 6, episode 4 if you want more information on omega-3 fatty acids and possible supplementation for them, which isn't a bad route. It's very affordable. The krill oil from Swolverine is the optimal source for omega-3 fatty acids. So go check out those 2 podcasts to get some more information on those. And like I said, they're a great option if you're not someone that is eating a lot of fish or almonds or walnuts. It's good just honestly to supplement with it in general. That's why it was with our everyday essentials.
Yeah. St. Chaucer was like, I love the krill oil.
Yeah.
Girl, same. I took I still take it. I took it through my whole pregnancy. I don't think I've ever felt better, like in terms of inflammation and joint health. So
I take it every night, and it has seriously helped post Hood to Coast that I did this last weekend. because my joints were
I
not
didn't know
ready
you
for
did
that.
that.
Yeah, it was a big mistake. Big mistake.
One of
Take a
one of
CrossFit
my
athlete
girlfriends
and tell him
that
to run 18 miles.
I could.
Yeah.
I just ran like basically my first 5K the other weekend and was shocked I survived that. So that's insane. What? Oh my
It
gosh.
was fun.
I
It
think
was
one of
fun.
my girlfriends did that, but she trains like basically full time for
Oh,
marathons and
yeah.
triathlons. She's insane. I don't know. There was one recently
Yeah.
in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I think it was a triathlon, and it was her first one
Oh, was it
ever.
an
And
Ironman?
she, I don't know if it was an Ironman or not. I'm trying to remember what it was, but Jesse said you're doing it again next year. So good luck with that. Have fun.
Great.
Um,
Great.
did she sucker you into it?
No, Lauren was the one that suckered me into it. It was like a used car sale right there. It was just like she talked real fast, gave me a
Hit
lot
you in
of
all the
yeah,
in all the
like
fields.
everything will be fine. You'll have a lot of fun. It's perfect.
I
Like
don't think
the whole like
anyone.
used cars, man. It's low miles. It'd be great. It's had like one owner, and you get in the driver's seat, and it breaks down about 5
It
miles out.
blows up.
Yeah.
I don't know if like anyone could seriously talk me into 18 miles, unless there was a gun to my head, then possibly. But no, I'm not even gonna. Nope, couldn't even do that. I do have a goal of signing up for a 10K in the next
There you
year,
go.
so
Not
that's
bad.
where I'm starting, and then eventually I'd like to try like some sort of half marathon or something. But that's about it.
That's yeah. I'd call it
I just
quits at
want
a
to.
half marathon. It's probably
Yeah,
smart.
that's good enough for me. I've always been told though, like Emma, you're short and you're wide. You're not really meant to be a runner. And I've always been told that, so I'm interested in rewriting that. I don't want to just
Okay,
keep
there you
saying
go.
I'm going to be a bad runner. So I'm going to do it. I
Yeah,
don't know if I'll
perfect.
like it,
Go
but I'm
for
going
it.
to do it.
All right.
The whole point is I'm going to do it anyway. Anyway, let's continue.
With having with endurance training or like being an athlete, another part, and this goes into number 2 of something that's really important to help with energy and performance levels, is proper hydration. Perfect. See, you're drinking water. Is that water? Okay, I didn't know if it was like
It's just straight up water. I didn't.
a mommy drink.
It's been a long day. Couple shooters in there.
So with hydration, it is absolutely imperative that we properly hydrate to help optimize energy and performance. Dehydration can decrease our performance by 20% or even more if you add in some other factors that we'll talk about later on. So this means we need to go into our workouts properly hydrated. The benefits really of being hydrated, and this is the one that made me really excited to share with people, is that it can help maintain blood plasma volume. All right. Josh is going to look at me and go, what does that even mean? It's science.
Oh my gosh. You guys are around each other too much.
So having proper plasma volume helps with the higher VO2. What's VO2? VO2 is the rate of oxygen consumption attainable during physical exertion. In layman's terms, having proper plasma volume or being properly hydrated means that you can use less energy at the same working level, or you have the capacity to work harder, having a higher VO2.
Okay.
In the same sense, it decreases fatigue. Also, decreased fatigue, better endurance, you're more focused. This can help prevent the next point, prevent injuries as well. We had some hot freaking days. I'm sure you guys did. Being properly hydrated, especially being an athlete. So many words. All the comments. This can help reduce the risk of heat exertion or heat stroke.
Yeah. The only thing I really know in terms of plasma, I guess, all the medical shows I've watched, they would always be like, this person is really dehydrated, so their blood is super thick.
Yeah.
So they'd have all sorts of clotting problems or whatever. So that's like sometimes an irrational fear of mine. If I start getting dehydrated, I'm like, I don't want to have a blood clot.
Yeah.
I need to thin out my blood with all this water. So it's important to stay hydrated.
Absolutely. Now, can you be overhydrated? Yes. Over consuming water can then deplete your electrolytes or sodium from your cells, and it causes what's called hyponatremia. Essentially, it means you have low sodium in your body. So it's really important that athletes. Oh, then she says, then it goes into your brain, then you have a stroke.
Thank you for adding to my irrational fear. I'm gonna be like having nightmares tonight.
So it's super important that athletes replace sweat loss via fluid intake, and with this fluid intake, has electrolytes involved with it. Kind of like a segue. So, what are some common electrolytes that are found within the body? Your calcium, your chloride, your magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, sodium. She's all over the chat.
Potassium and sodium are two of my favorite ones to talk about. I love those.
Yeah.
I can kind of go off on that, but
if you want to.
I just think they're an important balance. The other ones are obviously very important. Iodine is another really good one.
Yeah.
For females specifically, I've heard a lot of obviously they benefit everyone, but the sodium potassiums are really good balance. A lot of people who are, sometimes I get caught up in the sodium side of things, just trying to stay hydrated. And then there's just things that I notice where my potassium isn't as high. So the nice thing is if you track your food in something like MyFitnessPal, it usually also tracks the sodium and potassium. So you can kind of watch that loosely. I guess potassium sources would be like bananas, watermelons, potatoes. I don't know what else, and then sodium's really honestly, when I got to the peak of a lot of training and I was sweating for 3 straight hours every day and then coaching all day, and I would get a 4th teaspoon of iodized salt and just toss it back in the morning, and sometimes in the middle of the day and sometimes at night, and wash it down with some juice or water or whatever. And that was easier than having to buy Element or things like that. Just being able just to toss back some sodium was great. I'll do that occasionally. I just usually add some salt to my food. And then I'll take this Wolverine Intra. Only sometimes I'm like, just a scoop of salt will do just fine. I like the Intra because it has that essential amino acids mix. And just other little things that kind of aid to the the stabilization of hydration. So I feel very passionate about making sure you're actually taking things to, I see all of these things as more things that make the water stick. In my brain, I'm visualizing the sodium makes it stick in your body as opposed to just passing right through you. Also, make sure, what drives me nuts is when people do fitness challenges and they're like, drink a gallon a day. I'm like, how about let's do something like half your body weight in ounces or something like that. So it's a little bit more flexible realistic for the person. Cause I've done so many where in the past where I've done a gallon a day or whatever. And I'm like, dang, I'm peeing so much. My coaches would be like, Emma, it's cause you don't need that much water. Go being an idiot. So, definitely don't get caught up in the, I'll just drink water and I'll be fine. Usually there are other electrolyte things that can benefit your hydration.
Like pickle juice.
Sure.
Really, it's just mainly because it's water. It's water, sodium, and chloride.
I just picture you middle of the night snack, a pickle juice.
When I first got into the knowledge and I learned about pickles and pickle juice, I started eating a lot of pickles. And now I really like pickles. And
they're no calories anymore.
Yeah, it's a cucumber that's been pickled
Yeah.
And all a
I
cucumber
okay, if I
is
had to
water and
choose
fiber.
between yeah, if I had to choose between a pickle and a cucumber, I'd obviously choose a
Cucumber.
pickle. Need
Yeah.
some flavor. But I think there's been times where I've been on cuts and I'm like, I need more food, so I'll just eat pickles. So
Yeah. Yeah,
pickles are
absolutely.
great.
All right. Going.
Number
Oh
three.
goodness. Number 3.
Why do we go
I
so
gotta turn
far
the
off
chat
track?
off because I keep getting. I don't know. I gotta turn the chat off because I keep getting distracted. Just,
No, this is great. It's adding some entertainment, some
yeah.
mid show entertainment.
Number 3 is super super important with recovery. When we talk about having enough energy and making sure your performance is good, enough sleep and quality sleep. Um, so the recommended amount of sleep in adults is around 7 to 8 hours. When I
Okay.
work with clients, I like to have a minimum. The goal is a minimum of 6. I do have
Mhm.
some, obviously, that were around 5. There's only so much we can work on and prioritize within our goals. But
Mm.
research shows that athletes um, may need additional hours for proper recovery, but that 7 to 8 hours is the typical range for optimal recovery. But in addition, with having enough sleep, it's enough quality sleep. So sleep is super, super vital for hormone regulation. That's big, big, big,
Huge.
big. And if you want to learn more about that sort of stuff, you can probably go all the way back to, I think, episode 1
Yeah, we went
uh,
off
on ZMT. Yeah,
talking about
episode 1, part
ZMT.
A. We talked ZMT. It was 35-minute episode talking about ZMT and ashwagandha. Go ahead. You're going to
If
say
some
something.
okay, if someone came to you though and was like,
Yeah.
"All right, I can do one thing. I can sleep or I can eat like everything. Yeah, I can sleep and eat like 70-80% of what you want me to eat in a day. Or I can eat everything and then take an hour of sleep or whatever. Maybe they're sleeping 6 hours. What would you choose?
That's a hard one. Probably sleep. 100% sleep, because you're not doing yourself any good. Because you go nutrition route, we can make adjustment. Like, you're telling me
Yeah.
that someone's like, I'm going to eat like trash, but sleep great. Or I can sleep great, or I can eat perfect and get like an hour of sleep every night.
Yeah.
That's that what you're telling me?
It's
That's a
less
tough one.
like, because I feel like with certain people, they're willing to do what you ask them. There's very rarely a client that will do everything perfectly forever, right? So, or like as
Yeah.
long as possible. So, a lot of clients will ask you to meet them halfway or something like that, right? So, usually you have to, ideally, you'd love for them to eat all 2,000 calories in all 4 meals with their snacks or whatever, and then go to bed, have their bedtime routine set, and go to bed by 9:30, and whatever. So sometimes I like to say, like, okay, put myself in the position of people and be like, well, sometimes I have to sacrifice that, you know, last bit of post, I don't know, dinner snack before bed and go to bed earlier just because
Mm-hmm.
I'm so tired or something like that. Like, there has been times where I just wanted sleep. I didn't want more food. And it did
Mm-hmm.
help. So I think there's the trade-off, but I think overall, like, you can have some wiggle room with nutrition because let's face it, like, there's a lot of people who are super fit and doing really well and super healthy, and they eat sugar every once in a while, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
or they go out for ice cream once a week. But there is no one out there that's super fit and super healthy sleeping 4 hours a night
Right. So that,
consistently for
yeah.
years.
So to 100% stick with my original answer of I'd have them get the quality sleep, and
Mhm.
we'll sacrifice the diet a little bit, because it just takes a little bit to start the good
Yeah.
habits of getting proper sleep. And if we're, even if your diet's on point and you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to raise cortisol levels. Your stress is going to be through the roof. You're going to be useless in your training.
Mm.
More than likely, you can tell me your diet's going to work, but you're going to have the cortisol levels being high are going to release also at the same time hunger hormones.
Mm.
There's no way you're going to be able to stay on top of your diet while only getting 1 hour of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
So,
point. The cortisol. I also, yeah, I feel like too that can be a big reason why I had a girlfriend ask me the other day, she's breastfeeding her newborn. She's like, "Why am I so hungry?" And I was like, "Well, you're burning a lot of calories sustaining
Yeah.
human life, but I'm sure the lack of sleep does like that's another thing I guess I didn't consider is like the lack of sleep just raises your cortisol, and that's also just a stressful time for your body anyway. So your body's just naturally taking in so much food. But the funny thing is still even now, like all I want to eat while being postpartum is steak and sweet potatoes. Just all like I could just smack.
That's awesome.
I basically prepared a whole bag of sweet potatoes and I'm almost through them, and I prepared them yesterday. So that's how many sweet potatoes I eat. I'm all in for the complex carbs, guys. Nice. Need my body to use it. So did you want to talk about nighttime routines?
Go ahead if you want to hit it.
Well,
I mean, it's super important to have nighttime routines because they can also help with the ability to get quality sleep. Yeah. If you having that shower before bed, brushing your teeth, setting aside time to stop looking at the phone, electronics are off, possibly reading. I know that would put me to sleep. But
I have to have like the brightest light on in the house if I want to read, otherwise I'm out.
But having those routines to help you wind down and calm the atmosphere around you, because that will help you.
I just like to encourage usually with nighttime routines, like my husband has been one to struggle with sleep. He hates me because I don't need a bedtime routine. By the end of the day, I am so ready for sleep, but I also run 1,000 miles an hour most days, right? So, for him, like it'll take him a while to calm down. He usually doesn't really like to go to sleep until later. He's kind of a night owl. So for me, I'm always like, oh, well, you should get into like a nighttime routine. He's like, well, it doesn't work. I'm like, you did it for one day. So I usually tell people, take like a few weeks to do something and do it right and do it consistently, like have integrity in what you're doing. And then if it's not working, then we can figure out how to change it. But usually the best thing, like you said, like a hot shower, maybe if you're someone who likes to, I need to be cold, ceiling fan on, and same. I have like 4 fans on in the room because I needed to be like a frozen tundra in there. And right now with Caleb being deployed, I have like all the pillows in the bed, like making it feel like there's someone there. I'm like, I got like a whole system, good. Right? So because I knew it would probably mess with my sleep, and I'm like, I can't lose more sleep than I'm already losing with kids. So, but I mean, it can look like anything for anyone. Like if you have a sauna, go in the sauna before bed. Like if you like to walk your dogs at night, like maybe that's part of it. But for me, like I got sick this last week, and I took that as a sign that I probably should have taken a break a few weeks ago. So I'm slowing down. I'm not exercising this week. I'm like just taking a little bit more time to do me, think about what I want to do, and also read a book. So I've been reading at least 10 pages a night before bed. And then I was reminded of from your notes of breath work, which is a really good technique. So he mentioned box breathing, which is 4 count in, 4 count hold, 4 count out, 4 count at the bottom of the breath, which is great because you can visualize that box. And I feel like that gives someone to think about, that visual breathing. It's great for central nervous system. We are constantly going all day long, constantly needed, constantly worrying constantly, all this stuff. So I feel like just breathing, especially if you're in the market for like improving yourself and your health, there can be so many things that come at you throughout the day. Oh, I gotta cut my macros, or I gotta work out, or I gotta drink my water, or I gotta do my nighttime routine, like all these things. So that's one thing that can really down regulate you. I use an app used. I want to start using it again because this is remind me of it. It's called Breath Work without the O. So Breath Work without the O. Breathing exercises. I really like it. As far as I know, last time I used it, everything was free, as far as I remember. So it's not one of those apps where you download it, like you can download it for free and then there's a bunch of additives in it. I'm sure there are stuff you can pay for in the app, but I really enjoyed it. It gives you kind of a visual when you're breathing. There has been so many times where I've like knocked out in the middle of a breathing exercise. So that was a good reminder. I'm going to start doing that. So start to add in slowly things, good habits that I've been needing to do for quite a while. And then the biggest thing, if you really struggle with sleep and you want to up your quality of sleep, our ZMT is great. You can go back to our first episode and watch all about our ZMT. I'm like passionate about it. Or if you want to know more about it, obviously you can go to soulverine.com and get more information on it. But we really broke it down that first episode. So
we did. Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah. So, okay. Fourth one.
All right. Lastly, to help with additional cortisol levels, and I think this one is super, super important. It kind of deals with mindset as well. And it's about managing stress. So really your thoughts influence your actions, which directly influences your performance or will affect it. So it's not really surprising that this is something to help skyrocket your performance, being related to managing stress and mindset. Dealing with chronic stress, your body stays alert even though there's no danger. And over time, this can put you at risk for serious health problems, such as high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, obesity more along the lines of high stress levels, cortisol levels, hunger hormones. You're not managing your nutrition. And so I'm saying that with the caveat of that obesity is not directly related to stress, but it's related to factors that come from increased stress. Depression, anxiety, skin problems. I've seen stress affect hair, skin, and then I've even heard about menstrual cycles having issues due to stress levels.
Oh, so I have a can of worms to open on this, which I don't have to do it on this one, but I can give people keywords if they want to start Googling it. I think we should do an episode on just menstrual endocrine. Yeah. That shit's crazy. Menstrual problems. If you want to kind of start opening a can of worms and get a little bit more educated, learn a little bit more about adrenal burnout, endocrine disorders, and HPA axis dysfunction. Nuts. Mm-hmm. It's all kind of tied into like what you might know as endometriosis, PCOS, things like that. All of those can be tied into the endocrine problems, but adrenal burnout and HPA axis dysfunction can be gut health. I mean, it's all related, but sometimes if you look too far into it, it's kind of like this black hole that you just get sucked into and you're like, everything's wrong. My whole life is a disaster. So freaks people out. But menstrual problems, usually when people have menstrual problems that are related to stress, you're probably teetering on the edge of complete adrenal burnout, endocrine disorders. It's usually like a lot more serious. I think if if stress is affecting your menstrual cycle, we got a problem. So if anyone's listening to this and has issues, please contact me. I will put you in touch with someone who is qualified to talk about, I'll give you like the information I know, but if you need a doctor, things like that will address it, then please let me know. I will find someone to help, because having menstrual cycle problems because of your stress is really not good. So,
no.
yeah, it
So what are
can
some
cause a lot of
things that we
problems.
can do to help with our stress levels?
Ooh.
Work out. That's a pretty obvious one.
Don't work out too
That could
hard
be like
though.
running. Yes, there's a good, yeah, there's a really good
It's everything
blog on
everything in
that.
moderation, guys. Let's
Yes,
let's
yes.
just
I
say
think
with
didn't
the
we talked
moderation,
about that in an episode.
yeah, it's like sometimes you
Yeah.
can do too much. So
Yes. But examples of this is like running, weightlifting, etc. There's always getting outdoors, getting one
mhm.
with nature.
With nature.
This would be camping, hiking, even paddleboarding, going out on the boat. It's cool. Reading. Uh, it can be like reading an actual novel. For me, I love reading science articles, like nutrition articles. I really enjoy that. Um, Time with family
So
and
if you're
friends.
weird,
All right.
oh, let's
I'd
open
say
up this scientific.
I'm done.
I'm stressed. Let's
Um,
read about science.
it's kind of
Never
like when
once have
people
I
like
said that.
want to dissect what they're having issues with. They're like, I'm gonna go read PubMed or WMD or WebMD. That
Then
never
I'm like,
works.
oh, I'm dying.
Now I'm really stressed.
I'm dying.
A big one for me actually is time with family and friends. That's really good. Being able to go hang out with friends, kind of zone out, just have good times. And there's a lot of other things you can do um, to help relieve stress.
Okay. So there's a comment by Jesse a few minutes ago. We had
Yeah, go
hopped
ahead.
into the next topic. Um, Randy says his ZMT hurts his stomach. Is there something he should be doing that doesn't bother him? The first thing that popped into mind is the zinc quantity in the ZMT. The zinc in the ZMT is 50 milligrams. If you were just to Google like how much zinc should I take, they say like 11 milligrams or something ridiculously small. You could take more than that on a daily basis. It's not going to hurt you. But I would just recommend if you're taking ZMT, make sure everything else that you're taking doesn't also include more ZMT because he could be taking too much, or he might just need to take the ZMT with some food. So,
Yeah,
because
you
zinc
take
can really mess with
an
your
empty
stomach.
stomach.
Yeah. So, zinc can mess with your stomach if you are not eating with it. Um, so that could be an area. That's the first thing that hopped into my mind. But have him, Chelsea, have Randy maybe eat something with the ZMT and see. Throw a couple crackers at
Try
him
it
or
out.
something. Try it out. See if that helps.
Don't drink your evening coffee with your CMT. Probably wouldn't suggest that.
Crazies. Crazies. We love coffee at all times of the day. So
So you
my
should.
family's very Greek, so we have coffee all day, every day, all day long. Even if it's
Oh,
decaf, we don't care. We just need coffee.
yeah.
We'll just trick our brains if it's
Uh,
decaf.
so
So
she said, "Yeah, go ahead."
we already did that. You
Uh,
shouldn't take it with your
yeah,
zinc. You already did. I would
yeah.
say
So
if
he
you
takes.
are taking additional zinc, you probably don't need to. Like if it's a separate
So you can
zinc tablet. So I think the ZMT, if you were just to take that, that should be
suffice.
what's the word? Yeah, that should suffice for the daily intake. Um, so we'll see. Maybe there's definitely been times where I've taken zinc on an empty stomach and thought I was going to hurl for like an hour.
Mm.
It's rough. I did that the other day. I didn't eat soon enough after I took my zinc. I thought I was dying, and then I also just I don't like throwing up, so it grosses me out. But and then if you don't, if I, it can definitely give you some GI issues if you take too much, too consistently. So
Okay.
there's definitely a period of time where I've taken too much zinc, and I was like, why do I always feel gross? Yeah, there we go. Solving problems.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we've talked about whole foods today.
Mhm.
Really the habits to help aid in energy and performance. Talk about whole foods. We touched on protein, carbs, and fats.
Mhm.
Hydration, super important. Making sure you get enough water, but also enough electrolytes. Then we talked about having enough sleep, but also enough quality sleep, and some tips and tricks, even supplementation that can help with that. And then we talked about managing stress and possible proper mindset um, to help decrease cortisol levels and have proper, I guess, to minimize stress, to have proper energy and feel your
Mhm.
performance. Do you have anything else you want to touch base on?
No, I just feel like these are the 4 spots. Like if you are anyone, anytime, anywhere, and you want to just know, start out with 4 simple, or even
Mhm.
just one of these, like start out with something that will change your life for the better. Like any one of these will help you. So, um, reach out to us, I guess, anytime if you need help. But these are all a great spot to start, and then you can
Yep.
go up from there. But if anything, at least start sleeping.
Yep.
Sleep
And
more.
if you're not sure, like if you feel like I know I need to manage my stress, but I also could get better sleep, you're not really sure where to start, talk to us. If you know me at the gym, you can always reach out 346 Grip CrossFit website
Mm-hmm.
and sign up for an initial, like, call it like a initial meet where we talk about 20 minutes to talk about your goals and figure out what maybe the best plan is for the individual. But just reach out to a coach, someone that you know and trust that is knowledgeable
Mm-hmm.
in this area, and just ask questions. That's the biggest thing. Just ask questions. But if you guys have nothing else for us, you always can reach out to us. You have our Instagram handles there and there.
That way.
You guys can reach out to us and ask questions. You can always, again, go to the website and ask questions there, or put comments on the videos and we will reply to them. But let us know what you guys enjoy and what you want us to do on further episodes, and we will talk to you later. I'm going to try to do the same thing on the outro.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. Peace.